Making connections over 200 episodes won't be easy. Join me on this journey of conversation where I connect with those people that have gotten me this far so I can go even farther. This is the Dependent Independent Podcast, and this is a MiniSode. Hey there, everyone. Thank you for downloading and listening to MiniSode 62 and a half of the Dependent Independent Podcast. I'm your host, Nick G., and this is Jess Branas, our co-host for this MiniSode, which I don't usually do. This is a podcast about making connections, looking back while moving forward. In these mini-sodes, I get my listeners and subscribers caught up on what they missed since our last episode. We're actually recording this on a Wednesday, which is a day after a Thursday, which is a day after I posted my episode 62, which you can check out on iTunes. It's we did this cool review of The 7-Year Itch with a friend of mine on the interwebs named Ashley Mullen. She's a fan of the show, a musician, and she and I are both follow a good friend of ours who's also a podcaster called Corey Stewart, who does a podcast called Unpopular Culture Podcast, and she's our kind of independent podcast licensed graphic designer who does all the Are You Listening logos. Mm-hmm. Shit. This is weird. Usually when I do this, this is out of my comfort zone. Usually when I do this minisodes, it's very like in my head. I know exactly what I want to talk about.
I'm invading his space right now.
Whoa, wait, excuse me. We're actually, what we did was we live streamed this before, but this is my first mini-sode that I've actually done. Oh, God, that stinks so bad. So in these mini-sodes, what we do is it's usually me getting you guys caught up, but this is the first time when I have someone here. Now, my wife, if you've listened to episode 62, you know that Megan and Abby are at a dance competition all the way up through tonight. Big show tonight, by the way. Abby kicked ass. My son's at his cousins and his uncles and aunts doing a whole baseball week. Actually, I really feel like a shithead. I dropped my son off the other day before I went to work on Monday, and I dropped him off, and I'm all about giving my kids, I'm not a smothering helicopter parent, but I shook his hand. He's 9 years old, and I said, enjoy your week, man, right? And I shook his hand. I drove away, and I'm like, no, I high-fived him or something, but I was tired. It was morning, and I needed to get to work. But I drove away. I'm like, I'm such a shit dad. I probably should have hugged him and been like, have fun, sport. But I didn't. So I've been guilty.
Do you normally hug your son?
Yeah. All right. He's actually more affectionate than, he's okay with the kisses than my daughter.
If he stepped away when you drove and he started crying.
He went up to, everybody hurts. It's a tear down on the screen. But I didn't even talk to him. My wife has talked to him, said he had a great time. He went to a baseball camp where there was only 4 players, so that means all the kids got plenty of playing time.
Well, good.
And I haven't talked to him since tomorrow. So since my family's been away, I'm not going to see them till tomorrow. I planned virtually something every night this weekend. We did 2 shows on Monday. That was with the guys at Gay Talk 2.0. That was Tom, Chris, and Nick. That was a lot of fun. If you get a chance, go on our Facebook page at the Dependent Independent Podcast page. You can find a link. I think I put a link to Overcast. And if this is your first time you're listening, you've never subscribed to the show, go whatever podcast app you have, most likely has like a subscribe button, especially if you're on the iPhone. They have subscribe that way. Every time these shows post every Monday at midnight, even though we're doing this about 4 or 5 days before it posts, you can get it right in your feed, and you can listen to me, because this is a 200-episode podcast, and I want you to join me on this journey. Question.
Yes.
It's more of an answer, really. And
Who is?
No, I actually found out. Who is? What?
Well, you're going to give me an answer. I'll give you a question.
Oh,
it's
like
Jeopardy.
Like Jeopardy. Okay.
Since you alluded to Wheel of Fortune earlier, which was quite sad.
Well, isn't Jeopardy's on right before it? What's his name? After? No, 7 and 7:30 is.
The fact that you know this is.
There's one I live with my grandmother. She had. That's what we did, and then Fraggle Rock was at 8 o'clock on her legal HBO.
I loved Fraggle Rock.
And then we watched Cosby Show on Thursdays.
Yep.
And then we watched Golden Girls on Saturdays. I think. And then Empty Nest was a show also that was
Yeah, but I didn't like Empty Nest.
What? Remember the guy who played John?
Well, they kind of went together, Empty Nest and Golden Girls.
Yeah, the neighbor would come over, then it was him and his daughters and stuff.
Right.
He was divorced.
Yeah.
That was actually, can you imagine going to a TV studio right now and go, I have an awesome idea. All right, it's about a guy who goes to this old lady's house, but he should have his own show, and he's just a divorcee, and most of the scenes happen in the kitchen.
But now they're doing this with Big Bang Theory, because now they're going to have a spin-off show called Little Sheldon. Which I'm sorry, but I like Sheldon.
Good luck. I never.
But I can't watch it now. I watch after a while, a show, no matter how funny it is. After a while, it's run its course.
2 seasons. Every show should be only 2 seasons. That's it.
I could go for the lucky 3.
2. Every show I've ever watched. It's on my Facebook page and on my bio.
I know.
It says, what TV do you watch? I go, only 2 seasons of anything.
Yeah, but there are other things that lasted longer than 2 seasons.
What they do is they turn over the writers, and well, you know, I use
the news.
I use.
That's been going on forever.
Well, I was really big into Grey's Anatomy the first 2 seasons.
No, see, I never
and
watched
then they
that.
went to here's the thing. Now, you guys, you can watch this. We record most of our videos. And by the way, if you haven't been to our website, it's thedependentindependent.com, where you can check out my blog, you can stream the shows, and you can also check out our videos and all the Are You Listening segments, which the guys at Gay Talk 2.0, there are links up there. You guys, if you're listening, you guys can actually, you can go there. Your logo's on my
up
website.
there.
Yeah, oh, you are. We got to keep moving you. Actually, we should do that. Just keep moving you around. You'll go up there too.
Like, find Jess.
We got to get the new one.
Like, where's Waldo?
But I got to get just a picture of you. Can I Photoshop like the sweater and the hat?
I have tons of pictures of me. Look, I'm my own screensaver. Look.
Is that vain?
I am.
Is that?
It's not no. And you know what? I can tell you something. People, this is not the naked picture that was on my old phone. I had a picture that my friends took of me when I passed out
you never
at
showed
a
me
party, and my shoulder looks great, but I passed out naked on somebody's couch.
So your shoulder looks great in the full picture of you naked.
Yeah.
You talked about that on a podcast once.
No, but it's true. But it was my favorite picture. That one was taken for a magazine. But it's. I don't think it's vain, because I know that there are like extremely beautiful people out there. I think it's just self-esteem.
That's okay. I mean,
like I'm good at looking at myself.
I mean,
I think it's healthy. It's not vain.
No, it's not. I'm just only saying that because like just 10, 15 minutes ago, before we started the
but
mics,
somebody else had said that to me not too long ago. They're like, "Wow, that's a little narcissistic." I was like, "Not really."
So since probably the last 11 seconds, 30 seconds, we went on a lot of topics. I'm going to go back to, which I really enjoy, because I think we could probably do a show on each one.
We could do a show on
the Golden Girls. Come on, Grandma Legal Cable. I remember when the guys came over to our house and put that. I was like, "Where are those men in your house?" And they were putting the legal cable. It was very weird. But when
they're all passed away except for Betty White now.
Oh, Jesus, I thought you were talking about the old men that came to fix my grandmother's cable for a second. I'm like, how do you know that?
I thought you were talking about
they
the
were
show.
Pretty old. That was 81, 82.
Okay.
No, yeah, Betty White's still alive. I love
her.
That whole thing that was that streak on social media. Every time someone died, someone would say, Betty White, point. She just keeps.
Yep.
So Liz Wiley, who was on episode 61, who I had a great time bouncing ideas back and forth with her today. We were talking about some things. She's interviewing me for a blog, so she sent me a list of questions. And one of them was, why 200 episodes? Or no, it was, how do you pick your guests? And it's cool because when you do something like this for so long, then you get to really stop and reflect about how that actually evolved. And it's funny because the way I pick my guests is by doing the show, and the only way I can do the show is if I pick my guests. So technically, the way the show works now, as long as the show exists, I'll be able to continue the show and sustain the show. Because I get to meet, there's Liv, you and I were going back and forth today. You're going to be on the show, which is great because simply you and I connected on the interwebs, and I'm curious what, you mentioned something that we're going to talk about. I'm sorry if I can't recall that right now, but I think that'd be fun. Will you come here? There's, next week. Actually, it's funny. Usually in these minisodes, I kind of go what I did, what I'm doing, and then what I'm going to do. But we're gonna get through that in the first 3-4 minutes. This is great.
There you go.
And then we can just talk about stuff.
Just look forward.
While looking back. That'd be kind of really creepy, like looking back over your shoulder. So Nisar Ahmed, I was actually on his career website.
Yeah, I heard about that.
So he and I are talking next week. I think the topic we're going to talk about is he's Canadian and he's from the Middle East. I'm not quite Bangladesh. I think he's from Bangladesh. So I get 2 for the price of 1. I want to talk to him about what he thinks. What does someone in Canada think about what's happened, the shit show that's happening here? Do you want to talk about the shit show?
We could talk about the shit show.
Talk about the shit show. Now, if you guys watch the news, I swear to God, it's like, I went to see Meg. I saw my daughter dance in Hershey last night, and it was unreal how, I think Wolf Blitzer was like, we're going to talk about this. And 15 minutes in, and then it was like, that was the show, him introducing the show of what's happening.
Well, even if you don't watch the news, you can't avoid it. You either hear it from somebody else, you hear people talking about it on the street. If you're on Facebook or have any type of social media... If you have a fucking laptop, can I say that?
Why do you... Ashley asked me permission, too, to say the F word. Why?
Oh, wait, wasn't our episode that...
The F word.
The F word. Yeah, well, okay, so if you have a fucking laptop, if you have a cell phone, you've heard what's going on this whole however many months. Yeah. It hasn't even been a full year yet. I mean, this guy's crazy.
My theory?
What's your theory?
Wives. I was talking to my father-in-law last night.
Wives?
The only thing that's going to save this country are the wives. You want to know why? I remember no matter where I've been in my life, we were talking about, I've been married 14 years this year. Actually, next week, honey, happy anniversary, pre-anniversary. But 20 years this November. Megan actually said we're
Happy anniversary from your wife, right here.
We're gonna wait to celebrate November because that'll be our 20th when we started dating, and we hooked up for the first time. That's kind of our day. Like,
is that your day?
yeah, where we hooked up. That was it.
Do you remember that? Like when you were younger, like people would like write it down, like, "Hey,
No.
I went out on this day with this person."
I was just happy to do that. I didn't have a lot of writing. That book would have been really small. I was a good kid. I didn't really do anything. I was bashful.
Oh man.
The thing I liked about Megan is, well,
We probably would not have been friends when we were kids.
no, you would have judged me.
No, I would never judged anybody, but I would have gotten you into too much trouble. You wouldn't have liked me. You would have thought I was bad.
I would have told on you. Maybe that's why. Well, like in school, if we were in school together?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think so. Maybe. No, I was the class president, and I wore a sash on the bus.
I would have stolen your books.
You
No,
couldn't.
actually, I wouldn't have. I was a good kid. I liked everybody.
No, I was picked on, but
I was mysterious, and I knew I could get away with a lot of stuff because all I would do is smile at the parents or smile at the teacher.
Yeah, charm. I didn't have any charm. I just tried to. Well,
Meh.
we like we did. We just took it off the Independent podcast freight train. What? I can't remember.
We could do this for
No,
hours.
we could do that, but I want to at least
I
in
know,
my
you're-
brain I have some type of semblance of some things. We were talking about wives, right? Yes. You know how hard it was a long time ago for me to do that. How hard it was for my
Not that.
how hard it was for my brain to stay on topic, and this show's actually taught me how to do that. So
Good.
Thank you, show. I'm not even gonna edit that out. I'm talking in the Mid-Atlantic Podcast Convention. I got to.
I know.
Can I walk before you leave today? Can I walk you through my topics because?
Absolutely. Am I allowed to come see you do your speech?
Yeah, you got to pay to go though. It's like a whole thing. You want to go? It's a bunch of podcasters. It's 2 days. It's a 2-day summit. It's about $110, $115, I think.
I'll go.
It's awesome.
I told you I was going to go. I'm going to go support you.
Thanks. For my 8 minutes of fame, one of my things I'm going to talk about is the authenticity of imperfection when you do your shows, because sometimes people, like we talked on the Gay Talk 2.0 show, it's about conversations. To really chip away a conversation, usually people kind of stop and contemplate in the middle of a conversation.
They do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So wives, right? In my darkest hours, anytime I was doing something stupid, I always came home to Megan, and she's always the first one to look at me if it was my job or it was something at work, any matter what it was. She would always be the first, or at a party or something, if I did something stupid. She was always the first one to say to me, "You're a jackass," or "You did this." And it was for my own good because it made me aware of what I was doing.
Right.
It also protected me of going down the long path of actually completely, being that dickhead. Well, when I listen to all these senators and stuff and these politicians, right, they all go home to a wife. You got to tell me, there has to be, those wives have to, in all decency, pull their men aside when they walk through the door and say, "Honey, I was on the internet today. You got to stop fucking doing this. You got to do something. You have to do something." Now, for the Trump thing, by the way, as much as you're watching this and it's like overblown every day.
Mail order.
Should we be doing something? Should we be doing something?
I think we should.
Like-
I don't know. I mean, I've heard of with everybody in uproar, it's one of those situations where, and it's been said before, maybe this is a turning point for all of the people, the public in the country, to kind of cast aside their preconceived notions of whatever culture, whatever religion, whatever orientation, and come together and just say whatever he's doing is just not okay. Because whatever choices he's making, and if you notice, he's only been in office for, 7 months?
It feels like 7 years.
And, God, it hasn't, thank God it won't last that long. But if you think about it, half the people that he's appointed or are in government are now quitting.
He just runs it like a really shitty...
And other than that, or he's firing people that he hired in the first place.
It's awesome. It's just awesome.
So, and I love how you talk about wives, because if you...
Do you agree with that? Come on. I mean,
I think
they're
wives...
not talking
first
about
of all,
Melania might be doing it, but come on. You don't think, like, Sessions is like, "Honey, Like this
Well,
southern accent.
didn't he just? Isn't he getting fired, or didn't he just quit?
No, he's going to keep his job. It's just Trump. It's like going to work and your boss is
Yeah,
constantly
well, it's
telling
like
your
they
coworkers.
said. Listen, they said Spicy was keeping his job too, and he's out of there.
Constantly telling your coworkers, you know what? Like right in front, you know that guy right there? What a jagoff, man. Why don't we want to fire that guy? I'm within earshot of you. I don't give it. No, but you're good. Stay in a job. I know I'm disappointed.
I think if you look at it, whenever there's like a huge problem and Congress can't seem to get shit together, then the Women's Caucus comes in. They could have a luncheon and solve every problem in the freaking world.
Where are they? Why, I don't know what about.
You don't know about the Women's Caucus?
When you say that, all I think about when you say that, the woman with the red hats that hang out. That's what I think. That's weird when you say that. The moment that's the image I thought.
So the Women's Caucus, they are a part of, I guess.
If they're that influential, how come they're not? Why they wait till they get the Women's Caucus signal in the air and they come?
We have a president who has a mail order bride.
Okay, teach me. And.
I'll just fire everybody. No, women.
No,
the
wait,
Women's
I'm
Caucus,
sorry. I'm
no,
sorry.
the Women's Caucus do have they do have pull, but I mean that's just a part of Congress. They just have the
part
ability.
Of Congress.
They just have the ability when they get
I'm
together.
Sorry, this isn't like a group that.
No, they're just like a group of ladies,
on the
like some of the
congresswomen.
Congresswomen
like they're in
or
they get in Ecto
representatives and stuff like that. But I mean, the Women's Caucus. I mean, it's not that they have the ability. I mean, they could have the ability to be very influential, and they are.
Mm-hmm.
But they're very bright and. You know, I kind of relate it to this. My father was a physician, right? Happily retired. He had a private practice. You know, his office was in our home.
I'm happy you're
here. Thanks. I know
you're
getting all googly eyed.
Just keep talking. This is cool.
But my mother ran his. Thanks, guys. Do your dance, man.
I'm sorry. No, I'm not doing. I'm sorry. I'm not. Stop. All right, keep going. I'm sorry. You're telling me this story.
But
you're so serious.
My mother ran his practice. He's wonderful when it comes to medicine, but he would have to come out of that waiting room and say, "What's this lady's name again?" And the chart's right in front of him. Women have a mind that, and I think it's like a motherly thing, where they understand the ability to take care of all.
You mean nurture nature?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys can't do that.
No.
So you know all the wives. Listen,
they
Ronald
can do
Reagan.
That. They're more inclined to do
Ronald Reagan wouldn't have gotten half the meetings he got if it wasn't for Nancy.
She was the shit, man. That's one thing I feel.
And I am not Republican, but I could say, like, Ronnie was a cool dude. I mean, he was a humanitarian.
An actor.
He was not. I don't think he was all there. But Nancy, I mean, she apparently was a very big fireball. You know, and if you look at Mama Bush, she probably said the same thing to George, Papa George.
But put all by the way, put all those women in the same room. They're all pretty powerful.
Yeah.
But that's why maybe I exclude Melania. She might have lost any influence. But every other politician that's out that you see goes home to someone.
Well, don't forget. I mean, Melania. I mean, she is not an American. It's not like she's lived here her whole life.
But she didn't want. By the way, she didn't want that to happen either. Who was I talking about with Meg yesterday?
Nobody did.
Like but she was like, yeah. I liked hanging out in the islands, and
I would have liked hanging out in the islands too. I wish they would take us, but I think after all this, everybody's going to take our passports away.
So we have Nassar on the phone on our show,
right?
In episode 63.
Well, Canada doesn't even want us anymore.
But I really want to talk to him, and he was cool about it. I actually sent him. I said, "Is it okay if I ask you that?" Because that to me is he could be himself. He's got a point of view, a strong point of view, and I really an opinion, and I really thought that would be kind of fun to do. So that's.
I feel as if everybody in the world right now is just shaking their heads every time they turn on the news.
I mean, I just don't want it. It's weird. I internalize it, but a reflection of us. You know what I mean? Like if I show up.
I didn't vote for him. Not a reflection.
But not
of
even
me.
that. Of I think it's to a point where
he's here and you have to put up with it, and it could be worse.
Yeah.
Could be better. But I think this could also be a turning point where we finally all come together and say enough's enough.
I don't know. I was telling Meg yesterday, if I was debating him, and like if I was running against him,
you would have won.
I know people that, no, it's just like, when you think of making the other guy look bad, it's just like, all right, Nick, you have the floor. Here's a question. Why do you feel your opponent is unfit? And then all I do is be like, hold on a sec. Just going to open my phone.
Are you going to tweet?
I'm just going to open my phone. Hold on a second. Oh, there he is. All right. I'm going to start from the top. And just start reading them. I'm sorry. That's what this did. That's what this did. And that's what this did. And that's what this did. Oh, you guys remember that? Remember that crazy thing that was in the news? Hold on a sec. Hold on. I'm not making this up. Everybody grabs your phone so you can follow along. Like, it's so easy. He's almost like... It's too surreal, and that's the weird thing about it.
But we are now just especially this week with everything that he's announced, everything that many of us have fought for, it's going back like 20 years, just like that. Nobody has a say. And this is not the way to go. For everybody out there who like would always talk about like some of the Latin American countries or Russia and talk about communism and how bad it was, you guys just brought it on.
I think that bubble will pop. I'm such an optimist that I think that bubble will pop. It's getting worse and worse, very close together.
Yeah, but I think we'd still rather have his craziness there than Pence right now. But Pence is controllable because he's a politician.
Pence will do. He's got his views, but from what you see him act as a politician.
Yeah, he's more of a politician. But you can't. I mean, whoever's out there, it's really surprising to me that you thought you wanted to get rid of big business and government, and you hire a businessman to be the president who is, his companies are going to profit off of all this. Anything that happens in the government at this point, they're going to profit. It's like Dick Cheney.
Hey, buddy.
When they got the contracts to rebuild Iraq, it was Cheney's company, Halliburton, that got the contracts.
What do you want to do? You want to run ticket 2020?
2020?
Jess Branas, Nick G, 2020. You and me run? What
Are you
want
kidding?
to be
I think we would smoke them.
We'd be pretty good debaters.
I think so.
Speaking about being by yourself, debaters.
Yeah. Oh.
One thing we talk about.
Yeah.
We'll get off the politics thing. One of the things.
We're actually doing a very long episode here. You might actually have to make this a main episode.
No, I've done it before, but usually the ones I do that are me talking.
Yeah.
That's fine. It's a mini-sode.
Whatever you want,
so
man.
Suck it. It's gonna be longer than a normal episode.
But because we're fun.
Yeah, we're fun. So we talked. Do you want to tackle that? So we I was thinking about something we could talk about. And being by myself, it's interesting. We've always talked about making connections and being around people. Sweet. Hey, do you mind if I kind of move this over?
No. Oh, yeah.
That's distracting. No, it's
sorry.
fine. It's just cool. No, it's just blowing up, man. Someone just heard it's Trump 2020.
That's right. What's going on?
JBNG 2020.
Actually, that'd be
cool. I'll put that.
You can make the logo.
That'll be the title of them. Well, I don't really title them minisodes, but I'll do it. I gotta start doing things differently. I always do things differently, but then I'm afraid to do things differently.
Switch it up, man. Be a little mysterious.
I'll just change the title. I'll just change the title of the show.
Be a little mysterious.
Am I
a little?
Do you think am I? What? No. What? No.
Be a little spontaneous.
Spontaneous and mysterious are two different
things. Mix it up.
All right.
Well, it could be both.
You know what's great? I was actually on Corey Stewart's show, and they put my show that we did on their feed. Which
really?
I try my best
cool.
on the Are You Listening segments to profile your show and other shows, right? Mm-hmm. But that's the first time anyone did that. That's like here. I'm gonna pay a host to host your show to give you the exposure.
That's pretty
awesome.
Cool.
Man,
yeah. Thanks, Corey.
I'm not a really nice person. So I'm a nice person. I got voted nicest guy senior year of high school. You know that?
No. I could see that.
That was great. I had long hair too. I was down to here. My grandma hated it because I could put it in a ponytail.
I remember you told me that the first time we met, that you had long hair.
She didn't like that because you showed me the picture of you with long hair.
Yeah, I did.
That's cool. All right.
Yeah.
Shit. So we were talking since I've been home all week doing the Bachelor thing. As much as I enjoyed it the first night, it's like eternity, and I'm kind of miss the house having. It'd be crazy if the dog wasn't here. But one thing I wanted to ask Jess, and a cool thing we could talk about is, what do you do when you're alone? Now, immediately when I said that to Jess, and knowing Jess's, her fervor in the world, in life, we're gonna just take masturbation off the equation.
My fervor in life.
That was a weird thing. I just meant your sexuality and your intense sexual energy. The first thing you thought of, but I thought about it already, was masturbation. Now that's something that obviously it's
healthy.
It's a beautiful thing. And actually, if you masturbate, I think men 21 times a month, you don't get prostate cancer.
Yeah.
But then the disclaimer is at the bottom. But on top of that, you better eat right. You better not drink your face off. Don't be overweight and all that stuff. So have a healthy
no matter
life.
what you do, it's like my dad said. First of all, he says
we can just talk about masturbation if you want.
You're only born with so many heartbeats. So once they're done, they're done.
Yeah.
And then he also said, because I was telling him that that somebody that I didn't think was that ate vegetarian is starting to eat vegetarian, and which I have no problem with because I try to be meatless at times. Mm-hmm. So like that's not a big deal to me. And he said, just remember, 100% of people who drink water die. And this is coming from a doctor, So, no, so that is something that's healthy, but there are other things to do when you're by yourself. Like, what's your? I mean, you've been
Well,
by yourself this week.
Go back. So,
What?
what did you do to entertain yourself as a kid?
Well, I had a sister, and we had when we grew
Well, so
up.
did I. But when you
so
were by yourself, maybe let's do it that
Well,
way.
I wasn't really by myself because we grew up as like best friends,
Mm-hmm.
and I had a wiffle ball set, and the neighbor kids, and a bike, and some roller skates, and a cherry tree in the backyard. So I was always climbing on stuff.
Just keep going.
But it's true.
Just when again, I'm having a great time. Number one.
But you
Number
asked
two,
me when I was a kid.
But when you said all those things, my brain just everything like suddenly around your head. Sorry, cherry tree. Sorry, keep going.
But
very
it's
fun.
true. But I mean, so you never felt alone because there's always something to do, and we also had a dog. When I was, even if I was by myself with like another friend, we tended to get ourselves in trouble. Like, I remember my parents were in the office and they had patients, and one of the patients looked out the window and said, "Why are their feet hanging out of the window?" I'm lowering my best friend out of the window. We're like 6 years old, lowering her on a rope out of the window to practice sneaking out.
Cool. Oh, cool.
Like, so this started at a young age. So I was never really that alone. Now, as I got older, there were interests that I had. Like, I played piano, I played guitar. So most of the time when I was by myself, and I preferred many times to be by myself, I would be practicing an instrument, I'd be writing something, I'd be reading something. I'm not much of a sleeper, you know that, because I apparently work all the time and I'm up all the time.
Sleep more,
Yeah,
man.
I try.
I've slept like shit all weekend. I mean, all week.
I'm in favor of the afternoon nap. I will say that.
I'm jealous.
You got to try it.
No, I've done it.
I took one today before I came here.
I'll take the car and like go to a nice quiet place and at work. Not on campus. I go
Right.
somewhere else. But it's nothing's creepier.
Right.
Nothing's creepier than a guy taking a nap in a Wawa parking lot. I'm saying.
I've
Nothing's
done it.
creepier than that.
I've done
Nothing's
it.
creepier. I'm always afraid of like knocking on. Are you okay, sir?
I'll have to tell you the story about the homeless guy knocking on the window once when I was on a date. I'll tell you that on a sidebar.
Where were you? Okay, sidebar.
Yeah.
We parking lot that thing.
Yeah.
That's what we do at work. Parking
Yeah,
lot it.
but apparently
Let me get the dry
apparently
erase
there
marker.
was an audience looking in the window.
What were you doing in the car? You were really?
Well, I was with somebody else.
Oh, okay, cool.
It
All right.
wasn't just
So
me.
I
No,
thought
but
you
now,
maybe you were
but
alone.
now, I
That
mean,
was the whole theme of being
it's
alone.
really weird because now I'm not alone because I have Nacho.
Yeah.
You know, I have my dog. But even before that, I mean, when I was alone, as I got older, I focused on the things that I enjoyed doing. You know, whether it was, having to write the books,
Oh
or,
shit! Oh,
or stuff like that.
Jess Branas is a best-selling author.
Two
She has
times.
2 books. Let me see. Ready?
Yeah.
Jess is an author. Jess has written 2 books. One, which is one of my favorites, "Seeking Her, Knowing You," that you can get on Amazon Kindle or you can buy at Amazon, and we'll put a link in the show notes so you can buy it. I've read, and I think I'm on a mission. I am going to do the audiobook for Jess for "Seeking Her, Knowing You."
I think that would be awesome.
I actually tried the first chapter, got all the way through it, and realized I didn't hit record on my recorder, which really sucked. But the one I'm reading now is 0 to 90, which is it's really the first book is really about dating, finding the right woman. But the cool thing about I remember reading it or listening to it, reading it on the train at during my old job, is the fact you gave me some tips, man. It really is great. And then the second book, 0 to 90, is really about those first 90 days in that relationship.
Right.
And Jess Branas is a dating coach and a relationship expert and a best-selling author and my friend. And I have the book. I was gonna show it as a prop, but I don't have it for the YouTube viewers. But anyway, I'm sorry, I don't want to derail you. But
No, that's
so
okay.
you talk about by yourself.
Yeah,
and
by
writing
myself,
books
I
and
always have something that I like to do. And you're the same way. I mean, you could probably you built this studio.
But it's interesting when you talk about being alone, because when I was a kid, I was alone because I was different, and I only had certain friends that wanted to hang with me. I was never part of the social group.
I didn't talk to anybody
I had
when I was a kid.
I had a twin sister, so she kind of had her friends and I had my friends.
Is she bald like you, or did she have long hair like you had?
My sister has real thick hair. It's weird. Like I have thin hair. She has real thick hair. It's weird. And it's sometimes she colors it and what have you. But no. Her hair was always longer than mine. That was an interesting question. You kind of threw me off with that. I didn't quite know how to answer that.
Spontaneous.
Yes. So we would play like tag, like my
Right.
sister and I. and she was such a good sport, right? I'd run around the yard, and I tried it. And then I'd catch her. I'm like, "You're it," and she'd just go, "I quit," and the game was over. I mean, that was pretty much about 5-8 seconds worth of tag, and that was always pretty much the max game time we had in the backyard. But when we grew up, we're close. We're not close. I wouldn't say my sister and I are very close, as in we talk to each other every day. But if she calls me, we're pretty much on the same page, and she is my twin. And if you get a chance, episode I think 27, 3 or 7. I don't know why those things pop up. On our 40th, my sister and I was on our show. Interesting. She had a night in jail, and it was fun for her. Well, it wasn't really fun for her. It was fun talking about it.
Have you ever had a night in jail?
No, I haven't. I'm a good kid. I've never got caught. I mean, to a point where some people say like everyone screws up, but it's usually people who get caught. I don't really do anything.
I would get caught, but I got out of it.
I like rules. I love rules.
Really?
Oh my God.
See,
I'm the biggest asshole on the volleyball
No,
court.
I like rules because I like to push them as far as I can.
I like writing them.
Or sometimes breaking them.
I like writing them. I make a living writing rules. I write rules, so
he does.
And then you write them in a way that they can't be broken. But I
bet I could break them. If you wrote me a list of 10 rules, I bet I could find a way to break them.
I think rules are cool because they make life predictable.
No
one's going to go over that thing.
I like rules because it makes me feel like a badass. Because I
Isn't that like some weird cheesy slogan? Like I write my own rules. I write my own rules, right?
I do.
Okay. So the thing about my sister and being alone, I didn't have an experience like you with palm trees and skates and cherry trees. I swear to God, it was so weird when you were doing that. There's a scene actually.
I thought you were gonna say that there was like a halo over my head. I'm like, dude, awesome. You're totally wrong.
You said that. So as I got older, I mean, I had a small group of friends, but because I lived in an apartment that the family didn't really get together and socialize, I spent a lot of time in my room.
Right.
But my room, I went to everything from displaying my toys. Right, to I was pointing pointing to in the studio, our shelves in the studio. Yeah, you guys, if you are listening to this and you want to see the visual piece, the cool thing about this is the video will go up tonight, which is
and the Are You Listening is right here. Posters right here.
5 days before the MiniSode, which is what's going to happen. But I really enjoyed my quiet time because I was kind of a hyperactive kid. I enjoyed either writing, reading, drawing. Working on logos, and the funny thing is, fast forward to this, I'm so comfortable being alone. If you noticed, I mean, I know I was kind of sweating before the show started. Like, it's weird. This is sometimes becomes very solitary, right? Recording, talking about these minisodes are real solitary, but having someone here kind of changes it. So, I've allowed this show to kind of expand.
Well, you've had your son on the minisodes. You've had your daughter.
You heard me say in the other episode that was the thing that the guys on 2K.
No, but I was
like, he's terrible. You hear that?
No, but that was awful.
No, he's not going to care.
No, but I
Nate,
mean,
if you're listening, which you shouldn't be listening because these shows are fucking explicit, I still love you. I just don't want you on my podcast, buddy. You're not good on the mic, man. You just not.
You know what? I didn't think he was that bad. I remember that.
You know what he did? There was behind the camera.
Right.
There was the screen. We had a monitor to make sure the camera worked, and he just kept looking. And at one point, his hand goes up and he starts parting his hair. What are you doing, dude? Come on, man. Daddy's working.
There's nothing wrong with that, man.
So that was
He's trying to look good.
So as far as being alone, I just. But what do? I clean. I like cleaning. That's always fun. I just like to be productive. I can't sit. I guess when you're around people, you feel like you're actually doing something, interacting with people. But when you're by yourself, I mean, if I hadn't booked in these last days doing things every night, oh my God, I'd be like.
I mean, if I look back to the time where I had just gotten out of a long-term relationship, I didn't have Nacho yet. I drank a lot when I was alone, I think.
That I've never done.
But that was I was just getting out of something.
You all right? Are you done? That was like a thing?
Years ago.
What do you mean drink? Like you really like?
Oh, I was drinking all the time. It was summer. I didn't have to do anything. What the hell
but you
did I
casually did. You didn't just like do like a Nicolas Cage and just.
Well, I wasn't that bad. I wasn't
chug a vodka bottle. In the aisle.
I didn't drink vodka back then, so no, it was fine.
What did you drink back then?
Rum.
Oh, okay, rum. Well, it's like the summer, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, the breakup happened in like November. No, but if I look at it, and that was just for a short bit, and then. I work out all the time. I like to work out. We've talked about this. I told you should go work out with me.
I love you.
But I do. And when I'm by myself, like, it's not unheard of for me to sit there and do like, oh, how many push-ups could I do? Or there's always something that has like some kind of end goal.
Yeah, I'm going. Yeah, I get that. Talk more about that. What do you mean? Like.
Well, I mean, like, hey, can I do 30 push-ups instead of 20? Can I, jump higher than I did before? Can I run faster than it? So there's always some kind of, can I beat myself at something that I've already done?
But what you're doing is
That's
instilling
probably
discipline, though.
But that's probably why I write books. It's like, okay, can I sell more than the last book?
But maybe discipline. Even me putting 200 episodes, there's a level of discipline to it.
No, there's no discipline to it. I just get, like, if I don't do it, I get bored.
Oh,
I can't just sit there.
I want the satisfaction of
I
doing
can't
it.
sit there and watch, like, how many of these books can I read? Can I learn this
that's
new
why you do?
subject? I
Really?
mean, if I could
You
tell
do
you,
it so you don't get bored?
I read,
Cool.
I read there's a 13, I think I told you about this. There's like a 13 set book called series called it's like the history of the world or something. William Durant wrote it in like 1939. And that's what I did. The first one was Our Prehistoric Orient. And I sat there and I read, and it's like, I don't know, 1,000 pages or so. Like, it's a big volume. And I read the whole thing. I was learning about all the, origins of everything in Persia and India and, like, all the great leaders, and it goes through the currency. And, like, I don't necessarily have to be doing something, but I always have to be learning something. Like, that's my thing. Like, if I'm alone, that's my thing. I have to be learning something.
Cool. I like that.
I took a physics book from one of the teachers that I used to work with over Christmas break. I'm like, I wonder if this can relate to anything that I do. And I read a physics textbook.
Impressive.
Because
It's like super nerdy, but cool.
Yeah, but I was doing it for a purpose. Wanted to see if it would fit into the stuff that I put out to the public.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay, I'm sorry, I misheard you. I thought you were doing it just on whimsy.
Oh, I was at first, but
I do a lot of DIY books. Not DIY. Teach yourself books. Like idiot. That's how I learned how to do this. Idiot guy. Idiot.
Yeah. I like those.
But again, I don't know. I love being alone, but I don't like being lonely.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's the thing. Okay, so what's the juxtaposition of that? Being alone versus being lonely?
I don't know. I never feel lonely.
Never?
No. Sometimes I feel like I'm alone, like if it's like super quiet, but I never feel lonely.
You're really like super social, though. Like, people are attracted to you. It's impossible for you to feel lonely. You just go, hey, you walk in a room, Jess. Come on. Like, geez.
Yeah, but you're the same way.
I don't see myself that way, though. Sometimes it's weird, and I have to get all humble and weird when that happens. Like, and people have to remind me of that, and then I go, really? Like,
listen, I would not be here hanging out if you weren't a good personality to hang out with.
Oh, cool.
You know what I mean?
So because I'm cool, you're here.
I wouldn't go as far as saying
Oh,
you're
really?
cool.
All right.
You were just doing your dance, man.
But I'm that's
no,
my,
no, but you're
I
fun.
have some problems.
No, I think you're extremely sociable. I think you can talk about pretty much anything. You've no problem. You have no problem starting conversations with anybody. I think you're personable, man. I like that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Nick is a good dude.
And then it's sometimes I think it's you got to know yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
I guess if you're never alone when you're lonely when you know yourself. Yeah. Self-reflection is always a great thing too. Meditation, that kind of thing.
Yep. I like meditation. I love self-reflection, and you do a lot of that too because you and I have conversations, and you're.
Yeah. Well, you got to make sure you know who you're talking to.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to do that with everybody.
But see, like, I'll go out to a restaurant and take myself out to dinner, and I won't feel lonely.
See, I used to do that to the movies, and that's one thing. Megan made a good point before. We went to go see Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
And
I love Spider-Man.
It was really with the kids, and the one thing she had said, all the trailers went through, she just leaned over, she goes, we don't go to the movies enough. Why don't we go to the movies? And I said, well, we just don't. Because, well, there's stuff, the activities and everything. You're always constantly moving around, but I think we have to start picking. We used to do that all the time. I guess the trick is completely off topic from the lonely thing. When you think about maybe I guess it's nice to be alone because I'm away or my family's away this whole week. It's a good way to recharge the batteries.
Right.
But I hate it because I'd rather have them around. So I can feel alone. I come down here in the studio, feel solitude.
Right.
But yet knowing that I could walk out of here and bullshit. I think when we did I did my live stream the other night promoting episode 62, and Nate was out here. That was fun because all I was doing was chiming him in.
But it's cool though because you recognize that you, first of all, you love having your family here, and that's
where else would I have them?
Exactly. Hershey? No.
Oh, you mean
we love you, kids.
Oh, you mean
well,
at home?
Yeah.
You mean
I mean at home. Like you and Meg both. I mean, like you like that. I mean, what do you think it would be like for Meg if you and the kids went away for a week? Do you think she would feel lonely, or do you think she would be okay?
She went to Napa this year, and she had never done it. my sister-in-law went to work,
Right.
because she was on a work trip with my sister-in-law. She spent a whole day hiking on this hill all by herself, and she had never done that before.
That's
Maybe it's
awesome.
weird. Like I think it'd be great if she spent time alone. How about she's the exact opposite, though. She likes having people around, right? She would rather have me sitting next to her than me. I mean, but yet I can sit. On a school night during the school year at 8:30, I can sit around and is that weird? Like we both don't want to be away from each other, but if we are away from each other, we want either close or far proximity, right?
Right.
It's like I'm within the same house, but
But
is where
when
I am.
when I lived with my previous partner years ago, I don't know. I still like that alone time. Like I love the fact that I got home from work like an hour before her, and I could go and hang out and have a drink at the bar with the neighborhood guys, or I could go for a run, or I could do whatever. And maybe that's because the relationship was coming to an end anyway. But I kind of was very happy when she wasn't there.
I'm not going to say I'm happy when during the school.
But you know what I mean. But I think that was more
But don't
situational.
you need that? No, we're constantly
I have a
stimulated
dog.
by people. And,
I have a dog. I have Nacho.
I mean, even at
believe
work,
me.
I make a living. She makes a living talking to kids. I'm making a living talking to adults. It's just like I want a break, for Christ's sake.
Absolutely. That's what I said to you, and we had this conversation earlier. I said when it comes to the school year, like on a Friday night after talking to kids all week, the last thing I wanted to do was go out. I wouldn't want to see friends. I would watch MacGyver and Hawaii Five-0, right? We just had this conversation. But I know it's really sad, but seriously, it was not a child.
No, it's fun. No, and that's,
but
and I gotta, yeah.
but I think a lot of people at the end of the week, they're done. Whether it's a boss yelling at you all the time, or kids that you have to deal with, or coworkers, or having to be social and do sales stuff and talking to clients, whatever it is. By Friday night, I think everybody just needs a break. And by the way, I have to say, as far as the work week goes, for all of you out there, I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. One of our platforms is going to be life balance. I'm saying 3.5-day work week, 3.5-day weekend.
Too much competition, man.
No, I don't think so.
We don't well, it would be a huge culture shift.
No, because you know what? They abolished slavery, and all they did was just reallocate it to the working world. That's what they did.
Sounds like another show.
It's true.
Really?
We work like dogs.
I don't.
I do.
I don't work like a dog. Come on.
I like dogs.
I mean, it's funny. You're in my realm, like the whole HR work week kind of thing. We've talked about that before. At one point, there was the idea of doing, 410s.
Yeah.
And taking off on a Friday.
You know what though? I would like that though.
But people do 410s.
I just don't think Saturday and Sunday is enough. By the time you get home from work, Friday's mostly over.
Mm-hmm.
Saturday, you have your good day. Sunday, by the time the middle of the afternoon happens and you're done doing housework that you didn't do on Saturday because it's your only day to rest, then all you're doing is worried about getting ready for work the next day.
I think it takes.
You only have really one weekend day.
It's going to take a company to do that and show that they're successful, and then people aren't so timid about doing it. I work for a boss. He hated summer Fridays because he felt it ruined the competitive edge.
I think workers would be more productive and happier.
I'm sure they would.
Yep, and healthier.
Yeah,
insurance costs would be down. They wouldn't get sick as much.
See, this is what you're talking about now. It's very hard for me.
I'm telling you.
Because all I want to do is go take the podcast hat out, put on my work stuff.
Yep.
Can we talk about something else?
We can.
That's too worky.
The Burger Bar T-shirt.
Yeah, I don't even know if they do it anymore, but this is a shirt.
Well, I was looking at this only because I was watching Bob's Burgers the other night. If you saw my Facebook post,
like Bob's Burgers.
I fucking love Bob's Burgers.
This is I got this shirt. Megan got me this shirt for my birthday. It feels good. It just feels good. The Dive Bar Shirt Club, T-shirt Shirt Club. And speaking of ordering things over the mail, I got my second Stitch Fix. I know they're not sponsors of the show.
They should be.
I'm trying to. I'm working with my stylist, but I'm very happy to have Sherry back as
my stylist.
my
The fact that
stylist.
you say you have a stylist is
She puts together
impressive.
my 5 ensembles, and I think with this one I'm going to buy all of them because the last one, Sherry was out on vacation, and Anna filled in, and not for nothing, it was shit. And I didn't even try any of it on. It was as if she didn't even know who I was. You should have seen me. I was like, I was like complaining to Meg. She doesn't even know me. Sherry knows me. Anna doesn't know what I want.
Have you met Sherry?
Never met her, but what she does is, and not that you tell them what your social media is, and they follow you on Instagram so they can watch your pictures and see how you're dressing.
I would love to know
So
what they would put me in.
She's complimented the show. She listens to the show. I'm going to tell her that I talked about her on this show. And she actually asked how my Disney trip was. So that's that. To be honest with you, as far as service goes, that's the shit.
There you go.
She can send me a fucking garbage bag, and I'd be like, "Well, here's the garbage bag," and I don't know if I want to pay for the garbage bag. I don't know if I want to pay for the garbage bag. But was that it right there?
That was
this is weird for those guys watching. I know we do this whole. Oh, that's fine. I do that.
I do that too.
And
Cabbage Patch.
And you know, we're past the minisode, but shorter than a regular episode. Okay, so we talked about being alone, what it meant being a kid. Alone, being lonely. Do you have any fear of getting older and being alone?
You know, I think I do.
That's sad, right? When you think of old.
Well, no, I don't think it's sad, but I just want to know who's going to find.
Well, you never saw Up?
My body.
You ever watch Up?
No.
You never see Up from Disney?
No. Wait, was that the old guy with the balloons?
Yeah, that's the 7 minutes in where you're blubbering and and
No,
then you're
that's
like, this is a movie about like
Wait,
balloons?
is this the one with the Boy Scout with the lisp?
Not a lisp. I don't even know if he has a lisp.
He had something.
If you guys been living under a rock, there's this movie that came out by Pixar, Disney called Up, about this older man who decides to find this magical land he read about or knew about by filling his house. He's a balloon salesman, by floating his house away. But the weird part about it in the movie, the montage in the beginning about him and his wife being happily married in their later years, and then suddenly the wife contracting some type of illness.
Right, yeah, that part was sad.
And then slowly but surely with the music, every grown man blubbering. I mean, I'm heaving and crying, and I'm like, I looked at Meg, why did you do this? Why did you make me watch this? And I to be honest with you, I don't even know. I can't remember other than there's a dog that talks and looks at a squirrel. There's a Doberman that has a high-pitched voice because they
I just remember the Boy Scout.
And that's all. But that was the movie Up. And when I think of being alone, it's interesting. What did you say?
Well, I'm
about
not
finding your body.
Well, I'm not worried about it. I don't know. Like I don't want to look old. I mean, that's my thing. But I'm not worried about being alone as I get older. But I mean, who's gonna find me when I die? I already don't have children, so I don't have anybody
Why
to
would
leave.
you care?
Oh, you know, I'd rather somebody who knows me find me.
But when you die, don't you kind of mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No,
don't you go to church?
You know,
you float up to heaven.
I'm a Jew.
You float kind of down on the
No,
bottom.
they throw us in a cave and put a rock in front of it so nobody steals our body. No, seriously.
Really? You're going to go out like Jesus? That's pretty awesome, man. That's a Jewish thing?
Jesus didn't die in a cave, man.
But they put him in a cave and rolled a stone, and the stone rolled
didn't.
away,
They
and
put
he
him
went,
on a cross.
Oh.
No.
No, but they buried him.
I didn't read that part.
Don't you read that part?
No, we don't read that part.
That's not like a segue?
No, we stopped.
He died and was buried on the third day he rose from the dead?
No, we stopped before that, I think.
In fulfillment of the scriptures.
Yeah.
I paid attention.
Yeah. Anyway,
13 years of Catholic school, man.
Yeah, no, I got
All right,
nothing.
keep going. So, finding your body.
No, but I always joke around and say I got to make friends with my, I got to make sure I keep the family close because a lot of my cousins have young children now. I said they're going to be the ones that find me. Like I got to make sure I stay tight with them.
Simply taking care of you.
I'm not worried about that.
Really?
Yeah, what?
I always joke. I'm like, Abby, you better be careful, man. Just like I wiped your ass as a baby, you're going to be wiping my ass as a grown man.
Listen, I'm sure I've had moments where I've not been able to wipe my ass anyway at my age, but that's, that's a schmo story.
That's depressing when I think about like my
I just don't want to be in pain. No matter what, I don't want to be in pain.
I asked you about being alone.
Mm-hmm.
And you've answered it a couple different ways.
Okay.
Finding your body, take caring. What about being alone?
Yeah, I don't think that bothers me.
Okay.
Because I just
you know what I mean,
right?
Like,
I feel like I'm gonna be like the old person who's still out rocking it. Like I have friends now who are in their 70s.
Mm-hmm.
They go out till 3 o'clock in the morning. They're dancing up at clubs. They're doing whatever. That's gonna be me. So I don't think I think I'm always gonna have a social life as I get older. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it's gonna be something that. I don't think that part's gonna bother me.
Yeah, my grandmother.
I can't see myself like locking myself away and like being this old person who just sits there. I can't be that person.
My grandmother's a really big fan of surrounding herself with people that were younger than her.
Mm-hmm.
And when she died,
mm-hmm.
I truly thought, I'm like, oh man, it's going to be one of those things where they're going to have to take valet at the funeral.
Right.
Like 9 people showed up,
mm-hmm.
mostly my family. But the one thing, the realization was that because of how old she was, most of her friends died. She'd start every story. This would be, remember Mary and Bob? We used to go visit them in Florida. Remember they had the lake outside and the alligators? Remember we used to play with the alligators? Well, they died. And then I'd be like, Graham, what are you doing?
I have a feeling that I will still be surrounded by people who are younger than I am.
Are you like that now? No.
Sometimes.
You hang out, but your age bracket is...
I run the gamut. I have friends who are 70. I have friends who are in their 20s. You know, so it kind of just...
I don't know if I
don't know.
If I'm...
I just don't think I'm going to be alone. I think I'm probably going to still have, like, parties at my house when I'm older. Like, I'm just...
All right, cool. Am I invited?
Yeah, man.
I think...
You're my age.
I'm older than you, though.
By how much? A year?
A year and a half. You just turned 40, right?
I'll be 41.
Oh.
In 6 months. 5 months. 5 months.
I'll be 42 in December. Yeah. 42 in December.
Oh, that's right. We're both December kids.
Yeah, wait. 6 months, though. Yeah, I guess. When's your birthday?
19th.
That's my grandmother's... Get the fuck out of here. You're my grandmother's birthday?
That's
yeah,
right.
Dude. It's fucking great. I love you, man.
Were you just doing that and waiting for me to hook you up?
Yeah, dude. What's up? Sorry, everybody listening.
Yeah, we're just joking around right now.
No, that was fun. That was a moment right there. Oh, did you know in the podcast we did the other day? That's the cool thing about it. I didn't realize.
You talked about your grandmother.
That was episodes. No, the podcast with my episode 62 that Marilyn Monroe died in 1962.
Oh, yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I flipped out when I heard that. That was great. The irony of everything. We're coming up to probably about an hour.
Okay.
Of this. Did I? I think I answered that question.
You didn't answer the...
I'm of the mindset with my wife. I told somebody this today, that the way I see it, because my childhood was kind of, it wasn't like anything on TV. It was this weird, rocky, at least through my eyes. You might ask other people, they might have a different story. But my ideal was always what I saw on TV. And you see that picket fence and the thing, or I see myself like moving out of this whole thing at the end. Like, you know those stories on Facebook where they have, like, you know, Mary was, you know, on her deathbed and her husband Richard was there with her. And when Mary passed away slowly and silently, within an hour, Richard decided to lay down. That's pretty much, I think, it's going to go out with me and Meg.
Well, I
could be totally
wrong. You know,
wrong.
I mean, the whole marriage thing till death do you part. I mean, somebody's going to die first. Like, nobody can go into something thinking, oh, we're going to be together forever. That's not the case. But, I mean, you also have your kids. You know, you have extended family. So you're not going to be alone.
No.
You have me.
Yeah.
I'm 6 months younger, a year younger. I'll be here.
So in the whole thing with this show, let's circle back, right? The whole thing with this show is as solitude as this show can sometimes be, even though it's a one-sided conversation. I still throw it out there and people listen to it. So I ask you, can you guys do me a favor? The coolest thing about this thing is the only way it gets out there is if other people share it. And I noticed since episode 62 went out, there's a lot of people sharing it. And there's a lot of people checking out my show because it got a little bit of attention, or actually a decent amount, a lot of attention. Let me go all the way up there with the Gay Talk 2.0 guys. And that's cool because that's a whole different demographic that may not be aware of my show. But the next time you're alone and you don't want to be, just listen to the show, man.
That's
just
it.
listen to the show.
I
That's
knew
it.
you were going
to
go there.
Just listen to the show. She did. Just listen to it.
Yes.
And that's the thing, too. Like, when I was talking before about how I find guests for this show, the only way this happens is if... remember, I was kind of alone before I even started this because I made all these excuses why I couldn't make friends. I mean, honest to God, like, nope, I'll be fine. I'll make friends when I'm, you know, when the kids are out of school. I'll be at like 50-something, but that's cool. It's so hard to build relationships now. And if it hadn't been for the show, I wouldn't have went on Twitter, and I wouldn't have went on Twitter. I wouldn't have met Jess, and I would have been checked out her show, which was really cool because you talked about evolution, which I talked about on our first pub crawl. And then I got that, and I ran like a goofball up Locust Avenue and found you outside of Misconduct. And then we had the other show, and then I had you at the 50th, which you saved the day because it was great you were on that show. And now you're here on a day when I wasn't.
I will say this, and
for all of
you out there listening, and when it comes to Nick and the Independent podcast, and when you first reached out to me.
Is that weird?
What?
You had a bot that reached out to me, by the way.
Did I really? How do I have a bot?
You had like
I don't even know what those are.
Something on your Twitter page shot your Twitter out to your things and then talked about your show. So it wasn't you doing it. It was someone. Do you know that?
I didn't see it.
Like it was like, because I got a couple of those. It was like it was a way you promoted your show through Twitter. Whoever your social media guy was doing that.
No, it was me, and I would just type. Well, actually, at the time, I didn't even know how to use Twitter. I would post things here and there, but I really didn't know.
But you did that? Because I don't get those anymore. You just don't do it, right?
I haven't been on Twitter in a while. Because usually my Facebook is supposed to link to my Twitter.
We didn't even talk
or is
about,
that not
we didn't
working?
even talk about social media.
I don't even know
like being alone.
By the way, I don't even know what bots are. So
no, it's just like what's it called? Hootsuite. You just tell it to do what you want it to do when it does it on its own.
No, I don't know what
then
that
I
is
sound like
either.
a super nerd. Like it's totally relevant. Yo, you millennials out there, I'm totally
But I
hip.
will say, when Nick reached out to me, when you reached out to me, you made me feel great because I was like, I mean, I knew people listened, but like for you to reach out to me and say, hey, I like your show.
Why? What's
You know.
wrong? What's different than me?
Because you were the first person who reached out to me for that.
Really?
I mean, I've been on other shows, but that was proactive, and that was more the coaching aspect.
Oh,
But like as far as my podcast was concerned and listening and liking what I do,
I didn't
you
know.
were the.
And I didn't
Do you
know
know you were the first person who reached out to me?
I love you.
Love you too, man.
Hey, man. All right, cool. This is MiniSode 50.
We're full of love right
50.
here.
I just went back. MiniSode 62 and a half of the Dependent Independent podcast. Go on our website at thedependentindependent.com. All the links to anywhere, some of the best places you can listen to the show on the interwebs and subscribe are in the show notes. I think I talked about, where are we going to put the link to something? No. Forget it. You're not going to get any links. If I mentioned something and I said I was going to put it in there, I'm too lazy because I just want to get this out. I'm not going to listen to the show back anyway, which I don't usually do. This show will go up on Monday at midnight, like all of our shows. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at dependent_Nick, and our YouTube page and Facebook page at the Dependent Independent podcast page. Again, hyperlinks are on in the show notes. Do you want to say anything before we get out of here? Because it's almost 9. You said you want to be home by 10?
Yeah, I got to be home by 10. Nacho will
How long
have
does
to
it
pee.
take you to drive?
An hour. Over an hour.
All right, cool. Well, we got to get you out of here. All right, it's anything, parting words, Jess? For
No,
my
just
audience?
everybody, just keep listening to the Dependent Independent podcast, because this really is just a wonderful show, and I like to listen to it every week. And you've been so gracious to bring me in as your friend and have me on.
Come on, dude. You're welcome here anytime. This
Thanks,
is cool.
man.
Now this is officially a studio. And this video will go up first. So for those of you that have watched this show already on YouTube, you're way ahead of everybody else, because everyone has to wait till the podcast hits on Monday at midnight. Nick G, MiniSode 62 and a half, Jess Branas from Drinks with Jess, and the Dating Pool Podcast, and we are out.
That's it.